boy Dice, aka Dyson. Check this shit out. Peep it. Yeah, got a banger of a video in this one. We got two unfathomably beastly mammalian titans going 1-on-1, 1v1 in a battle to the death. So let's check it out. We got the Titanus Kong going up against the one and only Titanus Behemoth. So yeah, check it. Let's get it. Now, Behemoth is a titan that's definitely heavily slept on, but he is a beast, you mean? And I'm gonna really break down why. And I'm gonna get into what exactly Behemoth is, or the closest we can get to an answer with that question. And we're gonna talk about some of his abilities and what makes him so dope when being put up against the one and only King Kong, aka Kong, God of Skull Island. So yeah, the boy Behemoth is actually a very, very formidable titan. An ancient titan, so ancient that vines and vegetation has begun to grow from his literal tusks. And the thing is, he is a beast, he is a savage when he needs to be. He is an animal, you mean? He is a feral being, a monster, a titan that has been around for many, many years, similar to Godzilla, but for probably not nearly as long as Goji himself. And this is a being that is closer to Goji in height and weight than Kong, but we'll see what happens. Behemoth stands towering at 354 feet tall, roughly. Behemoth has a fur that is very thick and durable, similar to Kong's, making it harder for it to be flammable and catch on fire. And the thing is, he can survive many attacks because he's very durable, and his tusks are actually very, very dangerous weapons. This primeval creature has a secondary weapon, its massive claws, and it is very much so gifted with a muscular build, giving it much strength similar to Kong in the Titanus Kong species, being possibly the last remaining Kong, or at least the last of his subspecies, or something like that, possibly. Now, we saw Kong and Kong Skull Island as a juvenile. We saw that even then, he was unbelievably powerful, battle-hardened, and he had a battle intellect and experience, unlike many other titans, even at his young age. And yet, he was very, very, very formidable, especially for his age and experience / lack of experience, because, yeah, he had grown up fighting the creatures of Skull Island, and all kinds of megafauna and titans and creatures, but at the same time, he wasn't alive nearly as long as creatures like Behemoth, let alone Godzilla. And as we just saw, the juvenile Kong could, in fact, be damaged by napalm. It didn't actually really burn him, not like it should have with a massive furry creature like Kong. And it was the fumes that actually knocked Kong out, in my opinion. I don't believe that it was the flame. Kong, yeah, even as a juvenile, even as a young adult, he was a savage and an absolute barbarian. He was considered a god on Skull Island because he was a protector of the innocent, and he was cruel and brutal to the wicked and monstrous, such as creatures like skull crawlers, as seen here. The skull crawlers are herbivores that are very interesting, and I've talked about them on the channel before. Now, back to Kong. Of course, Kong isn't afraid of being a brutal savage, and we've seen him grow up over the years, and we've seen him grow more powerful, larger, and more skilled, now wielding a battle axe, one made of some sort of titan bone like a titan femur, with the battle axe head actually being that of a Godzilla dorsal spike, or dorsal spine. Of course, this battle axe can absorb hollow earth energy and atomic breath energy, allowing it to become superheated, causing it to slash directly through titans even as powerful as Mechagodzilla himself, giving Kong the edge. No pun intended. Kong is just absolutely ruthless. The man's Kong is heavily slept on. Like, get these people blankets, y'all. Like, heavily slept on. I don't care if I sound corny. Bro is slept on, y'all. Sleeping. I've always really liked King Kong as a character, and of course as a kaiju, you mean. So seeing him in the Monsterverse as a Titan was definitely dope as fuck. So yeah, y'all, let's go ahead and get right into it. In a minute here, we're gonna find out who would win. King Kong, aka Kong, or Behemoth. Fight. In the middle of a crowded city, Kong walks, carrying his battle axe as he senses another Titan's presence. He comes across the one and only Behemoth as Behemoth looks him right in the eyes, audibly angry, making vocalizations as it begins to charge towards Kong, after Kong had pounded his fist on his chest and snarled at him. Kong then runs directly at him and leaps into the air, coming down with his battle axe, going right for the killing blow as Behemoth backs up, dodging out of the way as the axe pierces through the ground. Kong rips the axe out of the ground, and Behemoth slashes across his chest with his claws. The claws swipe downwards across his chest, digging deep, going from the top left by his shoulder all the way down to the bottom right by his ribs, as Kong kicks Behemoth in the skull, causing him to fly back as he stands up on his hind legs and nearly falls completely backwards. He lands down and goes to ram Kong with his massive skull, with his huge tusks protruding out from his jaw. Kong sidesteps and kicks Behemoth in the skull with a straight kick to the side of his head, sending him flying into the bottom of a skyscraper, causing the entire building to collapse. Behemoth turns around and charges. Kong goes to grab the tusks of Behemoth, but he forces forward, pushing and impaling his tusk straight into the shoulder blade above the arm of Kong, as Kong then uses his forearm to break the tusk off, as he then takes his axe and slashes the other one off, kicking Behemoth under the jaw, causing his head to fly up into the air, as then Kong lifts up a piece of broken tusk and impales Behemoth twice, stabbing him through his hide in the back. One of the broken tusks on Behemoth's face is plunged into Kong's stomach. Kong hits him with a left and a vicious right, knocking him off, as he then raises his battle axe over his head. He looks into the eyes of Behemoth as he slashes his head in two. Winner, Kong. Dice 'em, Maori.